President Biden with that declaration, as you saw, September 18th, but actions speak louder than words. His administration now is expected to again extend the COVID public health emergency. This would be the 11th time. Critics argue the move is an attempt to hold on to the power the emergency gives the White House, and also hitting it as an example of mixed COVID messaging. Well, we've seen plenty of that. John Caldwell, Fox News political analyst. David Carlucci, former Democratic state senator from New York. Great to see you both. Happy New Year to you both.
Great to be with you. Happy New Year.
So, Gianno, I'm going to start with you. 11 times. The president says it's over, but we're going to get another extension.
Yeah, the mismessaging, as you called it, in my view, amounts to gaslighting. The fact that the president said that if Americans get vaccinated, then we wouldn't be under an emergency order. Well, Mr. President, over 223 million Americans have been vaccinating, amounting to almost 70% of the U.S. population. Then he said, okay, the pandemic is over, as we just saw in that clip, but yet there continues to be an expansion of, or a continuation or renewal of this emergency order. And I think in part is so the federal government can continue to have broad authority over particular programs. As an example, we see what they're able to do with Medicaid. They can continue push that program. They can expand that program. We also saw what they did with student loans, which was a political consideration because they got a lot of young folks to vote for him in this previous election. So with this, I think the president is playing politics with people's lives. Is unfortunate, it's inappropriate, and people have COVID fatigue and they want answers. Are we out of it or are we still in it? What precautions do we need to take and what should we do moving forward?
That is the excellent point that you end on there, Jono, that every lawmaker on the left side of the aisle should be calling for the president to answer. Like, where are we in this, and can he please give us a copious response on that? David.
Absolutely.
Well, I think you're right. I think everybody wants an answer. They want to know exactly where we are. But with this pandemic, there is no precedent. There is no roadmap. And that's why we have to be very careful. The president understands we are experiencing pandemic fatigue. And everybody knows that. But as was said by the previous speaker, that there are protocols in place. There are a lot of other things that will happen if the health emergency, public health emergency, is rescinded.
So, David,
and so the president understands this, that COVID is declining, but at the same time, now we're spiking back up with a new variant. So it's not simple. I'm sure the president would love to say, hey, it's over. Let's celebrate. Let's pop some champagne.
And that's my point. You say there's no roadmap, and that would be fine if he would just say that. But what he does is, at that point, closer to an election, on the flip side of the midterms, just weeks away, he says it's all over, nobody's wearing masks. So you're absolutely right. He could just tell us the truth, that we're still sort of working our way through if he can show the science of that. But he already declared it over. So either he knows or he doesn't know. Well, and either people want to take their medical advice from the president of the United States, who is not a doctor and probably doesn't know, or they don't. And who would that person be?
The president
I want to get to this. Go ahead.
The president's setting up that
protocol
to. He's setting up that protocol to try to outlive his presidency, to have this process in place so that we know, look, the pandemic
or is he setting up a protocol to try to get to the next term in presidency? I mean, we're going to move
That's exactly right, Harris.
I don't think he's setting it up so he can sit down. I don't get that. Okay, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is making good on one of his key midterm promises, and Democrats don't like it. Watch.
One thing I said from the very beginning, Eric Swalwell cannot get a security clearance in the public sector. Why would we ever give him a security clearance in the secrets to America? So I will not allow him to be on Intel. You have Adam Schiff, who had lied to the American public time and again. We will not allow him to be on the Intel Committee either. And you look, Congresswoman Omar, her anti-Semitic comments that have gone forward. We're not going to allow her to be on foreign affairs.
So that was November 20th. And now House Speaker McCarthy has confirmed Representatives Adam Schiff, Eric Swalwell, and Ilhan Omar will be kicked off the Intelligence and Foreign Affairs Committees. Critics have ripped the three for their various controversies. The Speaker's decision comes after Democrats kicked off two Republicans from their panels during the last Congress. David, your reaction?
Yeah, McCarthy was the first to be outraged when Democrats removed members from committees, and he said, "Look, this is outrageous. It's never been done in the history of Congress." But now he's continuing this trend, and he's cementing this precedent. Look, we could debate until the cows come home who is worthy of what committee, why they shouldn't be there or not. But McCarthy said himself that the majority should not be meddling in this and deciding what minority members are on committee. He's cementing this precedent. And look, were the Democrats right? I wouldn't say that necessarily, but two wrongs don't make a right. We know that. And now McCarthy's falling into the same trap that he criticized. And I think this is going to come and bite us all in the end.
All right. Elections matter.
Setting up this really troubling precedent.
I think former President Obama said that. Gianno, real quickly, and then we got to go.
Well, I'm glad to see Kevin McCarthy keeping his commitment on this issue, but I'm looking forward to see his commitment on the crime issue for families like mine. My brother Christian was murdered on June 24th in Chicago, and I want to see these progressive district attorneys who continue to usurp the law for their own will and ensure that these criminals remain out on the street, and that's impacting families all over the country. We shouldn't see that. Too many people are dying. We need this to come to an end, and I'm asking Kevin McCarthy to keep his commitment on that.
Always keeping you and your family in our prayers here in my household, the Berlin Faulkner.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Great to have you both, David and Gianno. Deep discussion.